Welcome, Mr. Bill Goldberg, to the Cat's Corner.
Boy, Bill looking
Big
good,
Shug,
Bill.
and look at the 2-time, 3-time, 4-time world karate champion, Ernest the Cat Miller. Welcome, sir.
First of all, Goldberg, I want to thank you, man, for coming on this little bit of podcast and giving us your most valuable time and spending time with us here.
Dude, it's an honor,
Thank you,
man.
sir.
You're my boy, dude. I'd do anything for you, Ernest. You know that. Always.
Yeah, but now, well, I miss you, man. What have you been up to?
Look behind me. All these freaking cars, man. I just actually I'm leaving in 2 days to go to Scottsdale for the Barrett Jackson auction, and I'm selling 2 of my cars. So that's kind of what I've been doing, man. Wanda takes care of the animals. I take care of the cars, and just chilling out and spending some time with the boy and trying to figure out what the hell his life is going to look like the next 4 years.
Oh, we gonna get to that, but right now let's talk about your cars.
We're Resite. Of course we offer all-inclusive site work. We're Resite. Of course we have a dynamic site crew. We're Resite. We have secure foundations. We're Resite. Of course we're good stewards. Resite redefines the way site work is done. Contact us at resite.com. It's RE-SITE.com.
Because I know how you've been in the cars for a very long time, man. And you've been talking about that Barrett Jackson. That's one of your favorite places, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, it is, except for how much money I drop there, for sure. It's awesome, man. I've had this car affliction ever since I was a kid. So now, fortunately, I've got a little bit of time and a little bit of trophy accumulation of trophies behind me to occupy my time and just have some fun, man. That's what it's all about.
But it seems like you have the most fun with your son. I mean, how fun is that, man, to be where you? I remember when I was there with my son going to college and stuff like. How fun is this?
It's fun, but it's freaking stressful. I mean, going through it as an athlete was one thing, but doing it as a dad, I mean, it sucks. I mean, it's great to have the experience with him, and obviously, as a parent, you want the best for your kids, and for them to have an opportunity to go on in sports in college it's success. It's freaking awesome, but it's lobotomizing at the same time, because recruiting isn't the same as when you and I were coming up, and it's just a totally different deal. And there's this evil thing called the transfer portal.
Yeah.
And it's like the devil to these high school kids. So it's a different landscape. And I don't wish it upon I do wish it upon my worst enemy, but I don't wish it upon my son to have to go through that kind of shit. And, it's bad enough with social media these days. And so these kids got to grow up a little bit early. They got to grow up earlier than we did. Going into college right now, sports wise, is like going straight into business. It's not extending your education and, I'm playing football on the side. It's a totally different deal. So
but are you happy about where he's at? He's not just at a great college, a good division. He with a great coach. And from what I understand, he's a personal friend too, right? Dion.
Yeah, I mean, you were in Atlanta during the days, and Dion, and his reputation as an athlete, but as a father, I've watched him over the last number of years when he got involved with Jackson State originally, and he had a big vision, and the vision just so happened to include his sons at the same time, and that was an integral part of him having the success that he did. And I admire him both athletically and as a human being. Sure, he's prime time. He's Dion, but man, I've never seen anybody get to top speed within 5 yards before. So you got. I mean, the guy is just unbelievable, man. And to know that we've had a friendship throughout the years. I mean, I was on the developmental squad in the beginning at the Falcons, man, and he was Deion Sanders' primetime superstar, and he didn't need to give me the time of day, but we were really good friends.
How did you guys become friends? Like, cause I know how difficult it is for you to be on the practice squad, and then you guys hardly ever made contact. How did you and Deion get such good friends?
I think I maybe
Scared him?
No, I know. Come on, man. No, I just showed that I just showed that I'd freaking do anything to be on that team. And I was a team player. And when you're in a foxhole, you want guys that'll give blood, sweat, and tears for the cause. And I remember Jerry Glanville coming up to my car one day. It was after practice, and I was tired and beat up and dejected. And every day I thought I was going to get cut. And he said, Goldberg, I wish I had 22 of you. I'd win the freaking Super Bowl. And I'm like, yeah, you'd have a pretty, inadequate team. But he was talking about the fact that I would do anything for a common goal and to make the end result a positive one, and it was a pursuit of mine, and I was relentless. And you want guys like that on your team. And I think that might have been something that Deion saw on a human level. I can't speak for him. I mean, I saved his ass one time.
I know you did. I heard about that.
But I didn't save it. I just came to his aid. But going back to my son and Deion, and hey, as a father, if you knew the head coach at an institution where your son was going to be the next 4 years, and you had history with him, and it's a great organization, and it's headed in a great direction, and he's redefining college football, I don't know. I'd say it's a pretty decent option.
Hey, Goldberg, that's a great option. But let me ask you about this right here. It was a time in my son's life where he got into college. I helped him do in basketball. He became All-American. Then all of a sudden, he started smelling himself. He started thinking, Dad don't know. He don't know what this feels like to be an All-American basketball player. So I need to take it on my own to do that. Now, what would you say to your son if he get 2 years and he started for Deion, he got a name, now he want to go into the transfers portal because he want to test it out? What would you say to that?
Well, here's the deal, man. I was reading an article this morning about Deion and specifically their roster and how he was treating the portal and how he was treating high school kids, and him saying that, he's not going to risk anything on a high school kid that isn't mature and that can't come in and do his thing immediately and have, a high ceiling. And I heard this word called foundation players when we visited Alabama. And a foundation player for me, and I keep bringing it up because my son, through the explanation and the definitions that I've found, he's a foundation player. You're talking about a guy that appreciates the opportunity, that comes in, works his ass off, represents the program, and doesn't want to leave at the drop of a hat. Wow. And wants to stay there and wants to continue to build, as if they didn't have an option. That's how it used to be. You used to have kids that, just went to a school because of the school, and went to the school because of the coach, and went to the school because of the lineage and the history. Not the opportunity knocks every second adage anymore that these kids have that, give me the biggest NIL and I'll figure out if that's the best fit for me. And it's great to be business-like early on, but I think you're still too young to be dictating your future like that.
Well, what about this? What about this, Goldberg? Cam Newton's father was my roommate in college, so I know what he went through. Can you tell me just how much money Deion paid you guys to come there?
No, that's funny. And people are like, hey, man, Goldberg picked up the phone and did whatever. Hey, I ain't not asking for nothing but an opportunity. I'm not asking for a penny. I'm not asking for a scholarship. I'm asking
tell his uncle. His uncle is here, Goldberg. I might need a little something from Dion.
Well, I don't need nothing from Dion, but again, again with the NIL situation and with Dion being prime time,
Yeah.
and his sons being on the team. I mean, if he didn't know how to redefine the definition of the NIL, then his kids wouldn't have walked the runway for Louis Vuitton in Paris.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah,
So
you're right.
I can tell you that the ability for me to pick up the phone and call the local Dodge dealership in Boulder, Colorado, and hook my son up with myself and do a unilateral commercial for Goldberg and CU football and whatever the dealership is, you're crazy. So the opportunities are going to be there. So that's all he wants, and that's all I want for him is a good situation. And we've got family in the area. I mean, my brothers own restaurants in Denver and in Vail and in Aspen, and my nephews are 30 minutes from Boulder. So
awesome. Now, let me ask you this, Goldberg. This is a very important question.
They're all important.
It's the last question about your son. Then we're gonna move on. Now, in your son, do you see Goldberg, the Georgia Goldberg, UGA Goldberg, or do you see the NFL the way you was when you got into the NFL Goldberg? Where would you pair your son? It was in between of which one?
He's neither one.
He's not?
No. He's got signs of all of the above, but right now he's me in high school.
Okay. That's a good question.
He's developing into that Goldberg persona, but it's all his. It's a completely different one. And I'm trying to, the last thing you want to do as a father and as a parent is make your kids grow up too soon.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But in today's landscape, athletically, they have to grow up too soon to be able to compete on a D1 or D2 or even D3 level these days. So it's a freaking dichotomy. What do you do? So I'm not trying to tap into him turning into Godzilla at the drop of a hat yet.
But that Goldberg is a brand now. You know that, and I know that. Goldberg is a brand. And he got that stapled all over him. People gonna expect a lot out of that young man.
Yeah. No question. But they're not gonna expect him to be initially they'll expect him to be me. And to go back to your last question, what's going to happen when he gets too big for his britches and says that I don't know what the hell's going on? Well, he's already been through that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I mean, 100%. No bullshit. Mm-hmm. He's already been through that. And it was basically this last 4 years of the only 4 years of his high school career, because the living under the Goldberg household and umbrella, you're expected to be different. And he wanted to be different on his own. He didn't want my anything along the way, except for some guidance here and there. And I don't push, and I don't like to push things on someone, especially my son, when I don't want him to feel as though he's got to be pressured into being me, which he don't want to be. And I love that, because he'll be better than me. He will just take pieces of me, which are born in him, right, and he'll develop them. But is he me at any part of my career, whether it be football or wrestling wise? No, but he's got signs of being able to develop into someone that has the characteristics of a dude who will frickin' kiss your baby and then turn around and chop your fucking head off.
Good. I got a question. Does he play the same position you played? Is he a defensive tackle?
No, he's got a lot more athletic ability than I did at that age. He's played middle linebacker. He's a rush end too. I mean, they'll put him on the end. Sometimes outside linebacker just to rush quarterback. But he's
like a Micah Parsons, so to speak. That type of hybrid linebacker.
That's about a tenth of what he's done. But, the All-Star game, they put him there more, and he's very good at that position. But size is going to dictate probably where he goes, where he lands.
Right.
I mean, the kid's a solid 220 right now, and he did 225 on the bench 17 times. I mean,
God, dog, Goldberg.
exactly.
That's
So
17 already.
yeah. So like
When I tried out for the Falcon, Goldberg, I only did it 13 times. I was a senior.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So you compare that, but then you compare the size of all these kids and how they progressed throughout the years. And I mean, this kid works his ass off. All he's got to do is get in a great program, which Dion has, and I think the sky's the limit. But
hey, my son-in-law is from there. He played at Yale, tight end at Yale. Him and my daughter been married now 3 years. He played tight end at Yale. He was supposed to go to CU because all his family went to CU. He played at Yale, and then he played 6 years with Atlanta Falcons, tight end. Now he's out in the finance world. But you know, him and I talk about Dion and what he bringing to the whole city. You know, he's bringing money, he bringing fans in, and he bringing in people like you. Because I know, listen, Goldberg, you got to have a lot of fans on their football team too. A lot of the young guys know who you are.
I hope so. You know, I mean, he's smart, man. He's using what Dion has learned throughout the years and applying it to modern day college football and turning it into something special. And to be a part of that would be awesome. And let's just also say my brother's oldest son was a walk-on there in 208. So I've been on that field. I've been part of that atmosphere, and it's a wonderful place, man. It's wonderful. It's a badass place. It's cool.
Well, let me get to a few of these questions, man, before me and you can talk kids and football all day. You know, so we ain't gonna do that. Do you ever miss it though? Do you ever miss like the days when you was at UGA, and do you ever miss any time of the football days?
Every single home game or every single game that my son played in high school, I was on the field. And I'm in the stance that he's in every play, pretty much. But when they run out on the field initially, they go through this big charger head, right? It's a blow up kind of gimmick, and it shoots smoke out the nose, ironically. And so I'm part of that group, part of the father group that would transport. I didn't transport. I just helped every once in a while. But we were in charge of the charger head, so that got me on the field. So I didn't have to, finagle my way down on the field. So I already was there. But so his last home game, he has a teammate named Kieran, who's an offensive lineman. I think he's going to Army or Navy. Very capable kid's 6'3", 300 pounds, of 290, right? The kid can play, and he's got a mean streak. So I'm all fired up, and they're getting ready to go. We're shooting the fire extinguishers on them as they, as the whistle blows and they run out the charger head. So right before that happens, I grab Kieran and I headbutt him.
Oh, shit.
Well, obviously, as a Charger parent, I'm not wearing a helmet, right? Kieran was. And Kieran's a big kid. And let's just say that like 2 days later, as I lost the feeling in my arm and I couldn't move, it took like 3 weeks for me to be able to move my neck. Wow. So to answer your freaking question, yeah, until I die, I'm going to want to be out there. But man, I don't recover like I used to. And headbutting dudes without helmets on. I did that at the Rams the last time I was there, like 10 years ago with my coach from the Falcons, ironically. But yeah, I'm not doing that shit.
Now, this gonna lead us into some wrestling stuff. Do you remember the time me and you was in the locker room and your music hit and you were getting ready to go out to the ring and you turned and you did something? Then when you turned back around, you had blood coming out of your head. And I was like, what the heck? Where did that come from? You said, I just headbutted the wall. He headbutted the wall and he didn't know the wall was. Did you tell? What were you thinking about, man? What were you thinking about that moment?
Nothing except for why didn't I touch it first? You would have thought my martial arts days would have taught me better because, as well as I do, when you walk in a gym, you always touch a bag before you kick it.
Exactly.
Right? Because it could be one of those 400-pound bags that are made of freaking concrete that are just there to toughen up your shins, whatever, we're doing it for. It's not the bag that you throw head kicks at, full force, right? Or low kicks, which is the only thing I can do. So, I remember doing the movie Santa's Sleigh, and I was up in not Vancouver, but I can't remember where it was, up in Canada. And I walked into a Muay Thai gym, and the fight coordinator was Jackie Chan's double. So he was very adept at Muay Thai, at karate, at martial arts. And so he needed a gym. And long story short, I walk in the gym, and there's a bag right on the outside of the ring on the corner, and it's taped you've seen those before.
Yeah.
Before. It's to condition your shins. Well, I walk up, whack! Oh my God, dude! I thought I broke my shin right in half. So, you think I would have learned from those days, but I didn't.
I bet you it didn't stop you. Because it was so funny. It's just like I was talking to you, then you turned around, then by the time I reached the door and turned to look at, you had blood coming down your head. And I said, what happened? You said, I almost knocked myself out. I didn't know there was a concrete wall.
Well, that's what happens, right?
That got you fired up now, but this is what I want to talk to you about that martial arts, because I had a friend of mine on this, on my podcast, Michael J. White, and you and him worked a movie together. And
I knew my first movie ever. That was awesome.
And
Universal Soldier.
And I know, what was the interaction between you two? Did you guys speak to each other, or did you two just look at each other and growl at each other?
No, you know Michael Jai. I mean, you do. So yes, both of us, and I don't know, maybe there was 3 seconds of them looking at each other and growling. But man, I mean, I was a baby in the industry, in the entertainment industry. I was an athlete. This was my first opportunity. I'd only been in wrestling for a short period of time. And I get to do most of my scenes with Van Damme.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
He was the one I had most of the interaction.
And Mike asked me about your martial arts, which we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But I did tell him, I said, he's the truth. I said, he started from working out with guys to being able to, I told him, I worked out with you when you first started training with some guys, and you was okay. But then the last time I worked out with you after a few years of training, I said, he was a weapon. He was able to throw some technique that I was like, man, where did that come from? He learned pretty fast. And that was at your school that day. I came up, you invited us up to spar. And I was like, man, Goldberg trying to knock my head off in there.
Well, here's the deal, man. I mean, I'm a guy who works hard and who has and is very passionate. So I've been a fan of mixed martial arts and martial arts for a very long time. And I, along the way, have tried to unilaterally grow and learn as a martial artist on my own, but also use it in training, whether it be for football or whether it be for wrestling, because it was a huge part of my wrestling, especially in Japan. I'm just a student, man. I've taken a lot of years of a lot of different things, but I've never been able to really dedicate 100% of my time towards gradually progressing in one discipline, because our schedule.
Yeah.
It's mostly privates with guys. It's mostly, Ludwig up in Denver, Ruben, who is 90% of my training. When I was with Glory, I got to train with dudes. I mean, Rico, it's just unbelievable stuff. Simon Marcus, who's a really good friend of mine. I've trained with him up in up in wherever he lives. I mean,
You know who put you over, and he's
Who?
coming on after this later on today. Is
Who's that?
King Mo.
he's awesome. I trained with him and
Yeah.
and Dustin Poirier.
Yeah,
And
that's what he told me.
But the whole deal is I don't have any ego in it, man. I
Yeah,
don't.
the King Mo said, "Cat, he's one of the strongest guys I ever been in the ring with." I said, "Wait a minute, do you know Goldberg? Do you know some of the fighters he knocked out and beat up?"
Oh
And
hell
here
yeah!
he is.
I've been a fan of his for 100 years. You know, he may be a fan of mine, but I'm a bigger fan of his than he is of mine. But
Yeah. So he came on, and he's coming on, and of course I'm gonna tell him you said hello. But
lots of love, please. I love that kid, man, to death.
I got a few questions dealing with wrestling. I don't want to talk about it, but I got to. How can I have Goldberg and not ask him a few questions?
I knew it was coming.
Okay, one is, how did you get started in professional wrestling?
My accountant told me to get off my ass because I didn't make shit as a developmental squad player in the NFL. I mean, that's kind of at the end of the day what the true answer is. I couldn't play football anymore because of an injury, and my dream was dashed, and I didn't have a path. I didn't have a second plan. I didn't have, what you should have, a fallback. But I figured that I could put 100% of my focus towards whatever I chose to do, and I'd succeed. It just so happened to be wrestling because of my relationship with you, with Sting, with Luger, with the Steiners, because of being in Atlanta. And it was a natural progression because I already knew guys who were involved, and I had a couple positive assets to bring to the table.
And you know what? Did you know you would make so much money from this business? Or did you just come in just because you needed a job now?
I was under the impression that it was much more dictated towards your work ethic and your everything, as opposed to, the luck of the draw and who liked you on Friday. And, at the end of the day, I thought it was based on performance. And I mean, it is to a degree, but so to answer your question, no, I mean, I knew I was a fan to a degree, and I was a huge fan of mixed martial arts, and I have a little bit of entertainment in me. So I always like building a car, like to think of what I would like to see, right? And so I'm like, okay, you got this, I don't know, 290-pound dude, he's got a shaved head, he doesn't say anything, and he just smashes guys. Oh, I might want to watch that. I mean, it was parallel to what Tyson was doing. I keep telling everybody, but it was all I had to do was replicate the feeling that fans had when they tuned into a Mike Tyson fight. Period. That's all.
Were you a fan as a kid? Were you a fan of the sport as a kid?
Wrestling, absolutely. I watched Texas Championship Wrestling with my grandmother, but I wasn't a person. I wasn't a person that wanted to grow up and be one.
Right. Okay.
I always thought it was a character, and it was, part of entertainment. But my life is based on smashing people's faces for real, in a competitive atmosphere, which was football. And I looked at it totally different, and I didn't look at it as a goal of mine because I always thought it was more entertainment based. And so if I follow my athletic, dream and try to go out and compete whatever field it may be, but against another person or another team, that would give me fulfillment. So
now, who was the first person that thought you've got it and we could strap a rocket to his ass and take WCW into another stratosphere? Who was the first person?
Probably Dallas, because I'd see Dallas out at, most of the establishments when I was playing with the Falcons. I mean, with Georgia, right?
Okay, so it went all the way back to that. He said, before you even got with Sergeant Buddy Lee, he said, you got it. I think you could be the guy.
I don't know. He never said that, but he gave a recommendation, right? Okay. And then I met other guys, and then I befriended them throughout the years, whether it be at Georgia or whether it be at the Falcons,
Right.
because of, you know, the nightlife in Atlanta during those days. And
Right.
it was a natural progression. It made my decision easier for me to do what I did based upon familiarity. Again, I'll parallel it to what Gage is about to embark upon. He's got a little bit of familiarity at a place where he has no idea what the hell's going on. And it's all new to him. And he's away from his family. And, you know, there's some security in that. And so in my decision, I was very lucky to know people. I knew Sting. I went to a NASCAR race with Sting when WCW was sponsoring cars, and I wasn't even considering professional wrestling. And we were friends because I worked out at his gym, Sting and Lex's gym, Main Event Fitness.
Right.
So now let me ask you this, Goldberg. What kind of training? I know what you did during that time when you were wrestling. What kind of training did you do to keep you in that kind of shape? Did you do bench press, squats, or what was your workout routine?
I'm a multi-joint movement guy, man. I don't like to do bodybuilding shit because it's not functional. I try to replicate movements in the ring with resistance. And if there's a lift that can do that, I do that. If not, I'll do kettlebells or, you know, it's compound, complex movements, more Olympic style stuff. But I just like to be focused. And I mean, there's a lot more that goes into being in shape than being in the gym. You know, if I had the perfect scenario, you and me, anytime and every time we had a couple days off in between something, we could have got some rounds in. Because that's how I did cardio. I was telling somebody yesterday, I don't think I've ever done cardio in my entire life, except for
I've never seen you.
When it was forced.
You remember you told me, I said, Goldberg, I run sprints on the weekend. You said, man, when I left the football field, I said, I'll never run another sprint in my life. And
I swore that I did.
You.
Yeah. I swore that I would. I won't unless if somebody steals something from me and runs away, I'll shoot him. I won't be running after nobody anymore. My knees can't handle it. And guys like me, we're built to be fluid, right? So I do all my cardio as an active participation guy, right? I'm not a dude who's going to waste 45 minutes to 2 hours on an elliptical machine, you know, in front of a television, you know, doing this crap. I want something to take my mind off of what I'm doing cardio-wise. So I'd rather play racquetball or I'd rather spar, whether it's boxing or whether it's kickboxing. Kickboxing obviously is better for you cardio-wise, but then I'm not thinking about my cardio. I'm thinking about not getting hit, or I'm thinking about hitting somebody, right? So I'm concentrating on not my breathing. My technique is what I'm concentrating on. So it gets my mind completely away from.
Well, you're not. I know you're not done in the ring yet, Goldberg. You ain't gonna trick me. I know you. There's something going on in that little head of yours, and I know sooner or later I'm gonna see you doing something. Cause too many fans out there want to see you. So please tell me right now that you got more in you. You got two more matches in you.
I mean, I got more in me for sure, but is it worth the risk? You know, of a lot of different things. But you're never retired until you're dead in the business, unfortunately.
Correct. Well, I read somewhere that you wanted a retirement match and was kind of promised one and didn't quite get that promise. If that's accurate.
It's accurate, but I'm not going to sit here and cry over spilt milk. And I mean, I'm the last person in the world that would complain because I didn't receive something that I was promised, because that's never happened before.
Promise? What you mean?
So, not for me. It hasn't. You know, I'll walk. I mean,
yeah.
You know,
but what you mean promise? Somebody promised you this.
Well, we won't get into specifics unless he just wants to. But I'm just saying.
Hey, Ray, let me answer him. We want to get in specific if he want to.
You just want more viewers, dude.
He's wanting clicks.
Yeah, I learned from you, Goldberg.
Yeah, I know, but here's the deal, and I'll give you just a tiny bit, and I'm not gonna. Like I say, dude,
You don't have to.
Shut up. I'm content, right? And I'm not a finger pointer, and I don't make excuses.
You don't.
But I did something for someone under certain circumstances for something in return. And let's just say that return was never delivered upon. Is it something I've gone to the press about and cried spilt milk? No, man, I don't care. But I'm just saying it is what it is. And for someone to be completely 100% trustworthy, they have to be a man of their word. And 99% of the time, it was fulfilled. This 1%, it just wasn't. So, I mean, it is, and I get it, it's a business, whatever. It is what it is.
Who would you want out there? Who would you want out there if you had one guy to choose to beat down? Would it be me, the cat, or would it be somebody else?
No, it wouldn't. It'd be you for fun. It'd be you. No. I mean, seriously, when you talk about matches to end your career, I mean, it could be you, but there's different reasons. I mean, you have to get motivation to do something like that. For every opponent is a different motivation, right? For you and I, it'd be fun. It'd just be the fun of it. It'd be like me and Steiner going over to Japan all the time and flying on the same plane and then wrestling each other. Right? That was fun. I can't tell you what a wonderful experience. Yes, I can, because you were part of it. You were part of the three of us driving around all the time. You know how much fun we had together? Imagine you and me going to Japan and wrestling each other. That'd be awesome.
Be great, yes.
But if you had the pen and you're booking Goldberg's last match, when, where, and who?
Oh man, I'm so far removed from even thinking about that. It's hard to give you an educated guess answer.
Can I put it together for you, Goldberg? How about you and Ric Flair? How about you and Ric Flair?
I love Rick.
Are you trying to kill Rick?
Him to die. I don't want him to die again.
Are you trying to kill Rick?
I don't have a lot left in me, but I got too much for Rick at this point.
Yeah. It's got to be somebody out there. What that guy named? He wants you so bad. He love you.
Don't even.
He want to be you. I'm not gonna bring his name up.
Don't even bring his name. And you know what? Please don't. I don't know about that. But please don't.
Are you talking about the guy that's always hungry?
Don't do it. Don't go any further.
I'm not saying anything other than the
fact
don't
even say that. Don't even say that. So here's why. I'm greatly appreciative of his passion. Period. But I'm not that guy. I work in different ways, Ernest. You know that.
Look at that smile. Look at that evil look.
I'm just not that guy. And I'm honored, and I get it, and I see the reasoning. But right now, I'm just not that guy, man. I mean, I'm not that guy. I don't
call my name.
I mean, whatever. But I'm just at this point, I'm not that guy. It's not that I'm insulting him in any way, shape, or form. And it's just I'm not that guy right now. And you can read whatever you want into that, but I think I don't know.
We got a couple of fan questions here. If you could wrestle anyone from the past, who would it be and why? If you were both, able to do it, dead or living.
Man, Bruiser Brody.
Wow. What a match. What a match.
That's why.
What a match.
I was such a fan of his.
Oh,
and ironically, I was a huge Von Erich's fan too, and they live 20 minutes from here.
Wow.
And I got to meet him, all these years later. And but yeah, it'd have to be Brody. He's in my when I
didn't even
grew
think
up.
that.
When I grew up, I idolized his work and was mesmerized by what he did in the ring more than any. I sat on the edge of my seat more for him than anyone.
So did everybody else, especially when he was wielding that chain.
Yeah, he was gnarly.
All right, last one for me. In the movie The Longest Yard, who was cool to work with, who was a dick, and who were you most impressed with acting-wise out of all the athletes that were there on that set?
I'm not going to go into who was a dick.
Okay.
But let's just say that it was one of the best experiences of my life because I was able to work alongside Burt Reynolds and Adam Sandler and Nelly. Obviously, it was cool to be with the athletes too, but I rub shoulders with them a lot as it is. And I mean, it's just the whole eclectic group of people was awesome. Adam took great care of everybody, but Nelly was literally the most down to earth dude on that set to me. And Leno always taught me that you only pass judgment on someone how they treat you, or how they treat their weight. No, excuse me, how people treat their wait staff, not you. So, but what I would do was I would sit in my. Ironically, look at this chair.
Oh, he got his movie chair out.
No,
man.
It's the longest yard chair. Look.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hey, I'll give you $4.50 for that.
Yeah, right. You could have my
how was Chris Rock?
Hold up. I could have what?
You heard.
Hey, how was Chris Rock to work with?
Next question.
Okay. All right.
Hey, so Goldberg, right now you seem to be in really good shape. No injuries hardly. So right now, how are you doing that? What are you doing today? I know you said you're not running sprint, but how you staying in shape now? Cause your workout partner, he's leaving. So what you gonna do to stay in shape?
Problem is, and I told him last night my dream as a dad. There's a lot of things that would make me extremely happy, but what I saw last night in the gym was unbelievable. I had to literally take weight off of my neck machine because my son was lifting more than I
was. Oh, wow.
And he's 17 and he's got 3 plates on that damn thing.
Hey, that's the payback. I remember we was out in California, Goldberg. Me and you was at a gym working out. And I'm a karate guy. I didn't lift a lot of weight. So I remember I worked my ass off just to get the 315 on the bench one time. So Goldberg and I was out there and I'm throwing the weight around 315. I got it 2 times. I was so happy. And Goldberg was working on some other machine. So he just happened to walk around and sat on the bench and he asked me a question. We were talking and I was still just happy about what I just did. Goldberg laid back, took the rack off, 315, and did about 20 times fast. Then when he got through, he just slammed it back up and walked off. And I stared at him. I said, I can't believe you just did that. Why did you just make me look that bad? But Goldberg,
I couldn't kick people in the head at will. And I'm going to take this opportunity to say that my martial arts game wouldn't be where it was if it wasn't for you.
Hey, brother, thank you.
If people knew how good you were and how dedicated you were to your craft, they would put you on cloud 9 as far as respect, because it's been a passion of yours ever since I've known you and way before that. And the fact that at 150 years old, you're still chugging along, man.
I swear.
Freaking awesome.
This the
mad respect.
Thank you, Goldberg. And this is the last question for me. What are your thoughts on the current state of wrestling today?
I'm sorry, and I know you left the juiciest question for last, but I can't pass judgment on what I don't see and what I don't know.
So you're not watching the product.
You're serious, right? Does that surprise either one of you?
No,
I
it doesn't.
I don't sit down on a Monday or Friday night and watch wrestling.
Hey,
or Wednesday or whenever.
What about give us a Super Bowl pick right quick? Who do you think out of the last 4 teams remaining? Who do you think it's going to be playing against each other, and who's going to win it?
This is one of the craziest seasons I've ever seen with my kid who's into fantasy, and me working for sportsbetting.ag.
Right.
I'm more tuned in with football than anything right now, and any time, because usually in the past I was cut by the team or I played against them, so I didn't give a damn.
Right.
But the stuff I've seen over the past couple months and the whole season, I mean, how the hell can you predict anything? You want to go with the Niners because of their offense? Look at what Detroit's done. I mean, Lamar, are you going to bet against him? What's your pick? I mean, I got to go with the good feeling story about the Lions, but I don't think they're going to make it past this next round. So,
God, I want them to, though.
Goldberg.
That coach reminds me so much of you, Dan Campbell.
I love it, coach, man. Yeah.
That would be you, bro.
He's me, 100%.
Goldberg, my pick is Detroit and my man, the Ravens. My lookalike.
You're looking
Ray Lewis. My Ray Lewis lookalike. So I'm going with Detroit and the Ravens. That's going to be my Super Bowl pick. And Lamar Jackson going to take them all the way to the the Super Bowl for a win. You won't take them? You won't take that bet?
Because I agree with you. Those are the two teams. But my problem is I always bet with my heart, not my head. I'm going to bet again. That's that's the second most disgusting thing I've seen in that left corner today.
Come on, man.
And I live in Texas, and Micah Parsons. No, I mean, a lot of reasons. But I'm more of a Texans fan.
Me too. That's hard not to root for that kid. Not to root for that kid. Golly. My son and I talk about him all the time. He's a very good kid. Very good kid.
Yeah, they got a lot of good going on in that program.
Good coach.
Well, Goldberg, I'd like to thank you, man. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Me and you have some of the best conversation on the phone. So
we can talk all day.
Yeah, but I love you, big man. Thanks for coming on and sharing.
We really appreciate your time.
Sharing a little bit of your thought, man. Anything you want to say to, the Cat's Corner, the people out there on my podcast, anything you want to say to them?
Yeah, man, if you're with the Forbes 500, then go to Scottsdale, Arizona on Saturday and bid on my 2 cars. Other than that, I don't really have anything on my mind. It's an honor and a privilege to be on with you, Kat. You guys, I wish you luck in what you're doing, and I'd do anything for you, Ernest. If people don't know it, then now they know it. But I love you like a brother, man. For sure.
Hey, brother, listen, I appreciate having you on, Big Goldberg, and I'm gonna let you go now.